Imagine walking into a storm and feeling calm, like someone handed you a map and the wind stopped mattering. What if that calm wasn't luck or temperament, but a set of habits you could practice? Stay with me. Each of these 10 principles is a simple, practical shift you can test today. If one lands with you, hit like small step, big ripple. 1. Find a firm purpose, your internal compass. Let's begin with something the Stoics believed was absolutely essential: purpose. Without a clear sense of direction, life feels like drifting at sea. You might be busy, you might even look productive from the outside, but inside, you feel unsettled. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrestled with this himself. In his meditations, he wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the ambitions he pursues." He knew that without a higher aim, daily life could quickly collapse into routine, distraction, and wasted years. Think about it. How many people you know wake up, go through the motions, and yet never feel satisfied? They chase tasks, but not meaning. That's exactly why the Stoics treated purpose like a compass, not just a list of goals, but guiding values you choose to live by. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't mean becoming famous, wealthy, or powerful. For Epictetus, a former slave turned teacher, purpose was as simple and as profound as living with virtue day after day. Picture this: a retired school teacher who wakes up each morning with no office to go to, no boss to answer to. Some people in that stage of life drift, but this teacher, he chooses to tutor neighborhood kids for free. Why? Because helping others, shaping young minds, makes him feel alive. That single choice gives his day structure and meaning. It shields him from life's trivial storms, a rude comet, a gloomy headline, or even a slow morning. Instead of being pulled around by what's outside, he stays rooted in what matters to him. That's the power of Stoicism. It says, don't waste your life chasing every passing desire or fearing every shift of fortune. Anchor yourself to a firm purpose, and everything else becomes easier. You stop asking, what should I do today? And start asking, how can I live true to my values today? So let me ask you, when nobody's watching, when there's no applause, no recognition, what do you want to stand for? Integrity? Courage? Compassion? Write that down. Keep it somewhere visible. That word, that value, can be your compass when life gets messy. And here's a quick invitation. Pause for just 30 seconds and type one word in the comments. One value that matters most to you. You might be surprised how powerful it feels to name it. And if this first principle resonates, take a second to hit that like button. Not just for me, but so more people can find these timeless lessons of Stoicism and bring calm and strength into their own lives. 2. Focus only on what you can control. The Stoic secret to inner freedom. Let me ask you something right at the start. How many hours of your life have you lost worrying about things completely outside of your control? A coworker's bad mood, the price of gas, the endless news cycle, maybe even the weather ruining your plans. If we're honest, most of us spend far too much energy on things we can't do anything about. And that's exactly why this principle is so powerful. Epictetus, one of the great voices of Stoicism, opened his famous Enchiridion with a line so simple yet so life-changing. Some things are up to us, and some are not. That's it. He believed the single greatest source of human suffering is forgetting this distinction. Because when you fight battles you can't win, other people's opinions, the turning of the seasons, the ups and downs, the economy, you waste not only your energy but your peace. Think about your own life. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, already late for a meeting. You slam the steering wheel, curse at the cars in front of you, maybe even feel your heart racing. But no matter how loud you yell, those cars won't move an inch faster. The traffic is outside your control. But here's the Stoic shift. Your breath is in your control. Your tone when you finally arrive is in your control. Even how you use that delay, calling a client, rehearsing your notes, or simply practicing patience, is in your control. That small but deliberate shift from frustration to action is what the Stoics call freedom. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who led Rome through war, famine, and plague, reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. Notice what he's saying. Your strength doesn't come from bending the world to your will, but from mastering your own choices within it. That's a shield the Stoic carries into every storm. And Seneca, writing to a friend almost 2,000 years ago, warned that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. How true is that? So much of our stress isn't about what's happening, but about the stories we tell ourselves. Stories we can choose to rewrite. Here's where this principle gets practical for you. Every day, life throws distractions your way. A rude colleague, a gloomy headline, a delayed flight. The question isn't, why is this happening to me? The Stoic question is, where's my control in the situation? That one shift can lower your anxiety, save your energy, and give you back the calm so many people are missing in their lives. So I'll turn this to you now. What have you been worrying about lately that isn't actually in your control? A person, a problem, or maybe even something about the future? Write it in the comments. Just naming it can reduce its hold on you. And if this resonates, give this video a quick like. Because when you do, you're not just supporting the channel, you're spreading these timeless lessons of Stoicism to more people who might need this reminder today. 3. Turn obstacles into opportunities. How Stoicism transforms setbacks into strength. Let me start with a simple but unsettling truth. Life will put obstacles in your path. Illness, financial stress, family problems, career setbacks. If you're between 35 and 60, you probably faced more than one of these storms already. And if you haven't, they're coming. The question is not if life will challenge you, but how you will respond when it does. This is where Stoicism becomes more than just philosophy. It becomes a survival tool. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who carried the weight of an empire during wars and plagues, wrote words that echo across centuries. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Now, pause on that for a second. Marcus wasn't saying this from a safe and comfortable life. He buried children. He lost friends to disease. He fought endless wars at the borders of Rome. He knew suffering firsthand. Yet he chose to see every obstacle as an invitation to grow wiser, stronger, calmer. He believed the obstacle itself was the path forward. Let's make this practical. Imagine you just lost your job. Most people would spiral into bitterness, anger, or fear. But through Stoicism, the question changes. What advantage can I wrest from this? Maybe this is the moment to sharpen your skills, to finally start that side project, or to pivot into something you've always wanted to do. Or picture this, a project at work fails. Instead of letting it define you as a failure, you treat it like data. It shows you one process, one approach, one method not to repeat. That knowledge, painful as it feels in the moment, becomes an asset for the future. Epictetus, who began life as a slave, taught that events themselves don't break us. It's our interpretation of them. He said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. In other words, the layoff, the rejection, the broken relationship, these don't destroy you. What destroys you is a story you tell yourself. I'm worthless. It's over. I can't recover. Change the story, and you change the outcome. And Seneca put even more sharply, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Think about that. Just as lifting weights tears muscle fibers, so they grow back stronger, challenges tear at your spirit, so it can rebuild tougher. Without resistance, there is no growth. So the next time life throws a wall in your path, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, how can this serve me? What strength can I build from this? When you adopt that lens, setbacks stop being tragedies and start becoming raw material for greatness. Now let me ask you directly, what's the biggest obstacle you faced recently? And looking back, can you see even a small way it shaped you for the better? Share in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else here who's struggling right now. And if this perspective feels useful, do me a quick favor, hit the like button. Not only does it help the channel, but more importantly, it helps push Stoicism into the feeds of people who desperately need to hear this message today. For live fully in the present, the Stoic antidote to anxiety. Here's a question worth asking. How many moments of your life have you already missed without realizing it? Think about yesterday. Did you truly taste your food, hear the voices of the people around you, or feel the sun on your skin? Or were you half here, trapped in thoughts of tomorrow's worries or yesterday's regrets? The Stoics knew this danger all too well. Marcus Aurelius, who bore the crushing responsibilities of ruling an empire, constantly reminded himself, confine yourself to the present. He understood that the mind loves to wander, replaying mistakes, rehearsing fears, creating endless scenarios that may never happen. But he also knew that life itself exists only in this single moment. The past is memory. The future is imagination. The present is reality. Seneca put it sharply. We are always complaining that our days are few and acting as though there will be no end to them. His point? We lose life not by dying, but by failing to live while we're alive. We waste the hours in distraction, forgetting that the only time we truly own is now. So how do we practice the Stoic principle in daily life? Start small. When you eat, put the phone away. Notice the texture, the taste, the rhythm of chewing. When you walk, don't rush. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the air in your lungs. When you talk with someone, don't rehearse your reply in your head. Listen, really listen. That's not just good manners. That's practicing presence. And here's the hidden power. Presence sharpens judgment. When you're anchored in the moment, you make better decisions because you're not clouded by imagined fears or past mistakes. Presence also restores joy. Think of a grandparent sitting quietly, simply watching their grandchild play. No rush, no multitasking, just being there. That's joy, and it costs nothing but attention. Epictetus warned, when you are lavishing your attention on trifles, you're giving up your own mind. Every moment lost in distraction is a moment stolen from your own life. But every moment claimed with presence is a victory. So let me challenge you. At your next meal, try this. Take one bite without distraction. Notice one detail you usually miss. Maybe the crunch of bread, the warmth of tea, or the sound of laughter at the table. Then come back here and share that detail in the comments. You'll be surprised at how powerful such a small exercise can be. And if you're finding value in these Stoic lessons, hit the like button right now. It tells me to keep creating more content like this, and it helps this message reach someone out there who's drowning in worry and needs a reminder to simply be here now. 5. Build self-discipline, the foundation of freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want, but the Stoics saw it differently. True freedom, they argued, isn't found in indulgence. It's found in self-mastery. Seneca once wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In other words, if you're ruled by cravings, moods, or distractions, you're not free at all. You're a servant to impulse. So what does Stoic self-discipline look like in practice? It's not about punishing yourself or living without joy. It's about making conscious choices that serve your higher self instead of your lower urges. Discipline is a runner who keeps pace in the rain when no one is watching. Discipline is the man or woman who resists the urge to scroll endlessly late at night, choosing rest instead, because tomorrow demands energy. Discipline is keeping a promise, even a small one, to yourself. Think about how often we set intentions we don't follow through on. I'll wake up earlier. I'll eat healthier. I'll spend less time online. And yet, when the moment comes, comfort whispers, "Not today." That tiny decision seems harmless, but repeated often, it weakens our confidence. Self-discipline flips the script. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you build trust. You prove that your word, even to yourself, means something, and that is power. Epictetus reminded his students that training is essential. No great thing is created suddenly. The Stoics treated life like an arena. Each day offered small tests. Could they endure discomfort without complaint? Could they choose principle over pleasure? Could they do the harder thing, even when no one else cared? Those daily choices shaped their character, and character was everything. Here's the key. Start small. Don't try to rebuild your life in a week. Pick one habit. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Skip that unnecessary snack. Read a few pages instead of turning on the TV. Protect that single habit fiercely, because discipline, like a muscle, grows with consistent use. And over time, those small wins compound into a life that feels steady, strong, and free. Let me ask you, what's one area in your life where you know discipline could change everything? Is it your health, your work, your time? Share it in the comments. You might find that writing it down is the first step toward actually changing it. And if this resonates with you, if you feel the truth in what the Stoics taught about discipline and freedom, hit the like button right now. It tells me to keep sharing more of these timeless lessons. And it helps this message reach someone else who needs a push to reclaim control over their life. 6. Build emotional resilience. The power of the pause. Life is unpredictable. One day things run smoothly. The next day, everything feels like it's falling apart. Maybe it's an insult from a colleague, a sudden bill, a disappointing phone call. You can't stop the storms of life, but you can decide whether those storms shake you to your core or leave you standing firm. That's where Stoicism shines. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Those words are simple, but they contain a lifetime of wisdom. The Stoics knew that events themselves are neutral. It's our interpretation, our reaction, that creates either suffering or strength. So how do we practice this? The Stoics trained themselves to build what I call the pause. The pause is a tiny gap between stimulus and response. The moment when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when your spouse says something harsh, or when the news brings another wave of negativity. Most people react instantly, driven by habit and emotion. But the Stoic breathes, slows down, and asks, what response reflects the person I want to be? That pause is your hidden power. It's where freedom lives. Without it, you're a puppet, pulled by every insult, every inconvenience, every piece of bad news. With it, you regain control. Over time, with practice, this pause becomes automatic. You stop handing over the keys to your inner life to strangers, circumstances, or emotions. Think about Marcus Aurelius. As Emperor of Rome, he was surrounded by betrayal, gossip, and pressure on a scale we can barely imagine. And yet, in his meditations, he reminds himself to stay calm, to avoid anger, to rise above insult. If Marcus, with the weight of an empire on his shoulders, could practice resilience, what excuse do we have? Here's a practical exercise you can try today. The next time you feel triggered, whether by traffic, an email, or even a rude comment, count slowly to 4 before you respond. Inhale, hold, exhale. That brief pause interrupts the automatic reaction and gives you the space to choose. You'll be surprised how often the anger fades in those 4 seconds. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you reacted too quickly and regretted it? What would have changed if you had paused, even for a moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because reflecting on it is already a form of practice. And if you're finding this lesson valuable, take a second to hit the like button. It helps me share Stoicism with more people who need this exact reminder. That peace is not found in avoiding life storms, but in learning how to stand calm in the middle of them. 7. Remember memento mori, life's limit fuels clarity. Let me ask you a question. Was the last time you truly remembered that one day? Maybe sooner than you think. Your time here will end? Most people avoid this thought because it feels dark or uncomfortable. But the Stoics saw it differently. They had a phrase for it, memento mori. Remember that you must die. And instead of fear, it gave them clarity. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Think about that for a second. Life isn't too short. It's just that we spend so much of it on trivial things, arguments that don't matter, endless scrolling, chasing approval, or worrying about the future. The real problem isn't time itself, but how we spend it. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the most powerful empire of his time, reminded himself every single morning that death could come at any moment. Why would a man with absolute power do that? Because it kept him humble, grounded, and focused on what truly mattered, acting with justice, treating others with kindness, and living in alignment with his values. Now, let's bring this closer to you. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and a doctor tells you, you have only 1 year left. What would suddenly become important? Would you still waste hours arguing about politics online or stressing about traffic? Or would you spend more time with your family, finally start that project you've been putting off, or simply enjoy the small things? A quiet breakfast, a good conversation, the sound of the wind? This is the gift of memento mori. It's not about fear, it's about freedom. When you truly understand that life is finite, the fog clears. Petty concerns lose their grip. Your priorities sharpen. You begin to focus on relationships, on meaningful work, and on gratitude for the very fact that you woke up today. And here's the truth. Remembering death isn't about being morbid. It's about remembering to live. Every day you remind yourself, this could be my last. You also remind yourself to make it count, to be present, to act with integrity, to speak with kindness, to pursue what matters most. So let me ask you, if today were your last day, what would you do differently? Take a moment, reflect on it, and share it in the comments. Sometimes just saying it out loud is enough to start making those changes today. And if this principle is striking a chord with you, hit that like button right now. It helps spread Stoicism to more people who might be stuck wasting time. People who need this wake-up call as much as we do. 8. Practice daily gratitude. Train your attention toward abundance. Let me share something powerful with you. The mind naturally gravitates toward what's missing. We wake up and think about the tasks we haven't done, the money we don't have, the recognition we're not getting. And before we even finish our first cup of coffee, the day already feels heavy. The Stoics knew this tendency well. That's why they practiced gratitude, not as a vague idea, but as a daily discipline. Epictetus would remind his students, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things he is not, but rejoices for those which he has." In other words, wisdom is learning to see abundance where others only see lack. Think about this practically. You don't need a perfect life to be grateful. You just need to notice that hot cup of coffee in your hands. Someone planted those beans months ago, harvested them, shipped them across the world, just so you could enjoy this moment. That friend who texted you to check in, that's proof you're not walking through life alone. Even the roof over your head. How often do you stop and realize that millions of people would give anything for that security? Modern science now confirms what the Stoics already practiced. Studies show that writing down just 3 things you're grateful for each day can lower anxiety, improve sleep, and even rewire your brain to focus more on the positive. Gratitude isn't denying hardship. Life will always bring storms. But it's about balancing the scale, reminding yourself that alongside the difficulties, there is still beauty, kindness, and opportunity. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often listed people he was thankful for, teachers, friends, even strangers, because it anchored him in humility and reminded him of the support that shaped his life. If an emperor leading armies and facing constant crisis could pause for gratitude, why can't we? Here's a simple challenge. Tonight, before you go to bed, write down 3 things you appreciated today. They don't have to be big. It might be a smile from a stranger, a good meal, or even just the fact that you made it through a tough day. Do this for 7 days straight. Watch how your thinking begins to tilt, how the weight of worry starts to lift, replaced by a quiet strength and calm. Now, let me ask you, what's one small thing you're grateful for right now? Drop it in the comments. You might be surprised how sharing gratitude not only lifts you up, but inspires someone else too. And if you find value in this, don't forget to hit that like button. Gratitude grows when it's shared, and together, we can spread the Stoic mindset to thousands of others who need it. 9. Free yourself from others' opinions. Live by your own compass. One of the greatest traps in life is chasing approval. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from saying what you really thought, or from making a decision you knew was right, simply because you feared what others might think? Maybe it was your boss, your friends, or even strangers online. That constant need for validation is exhausting, and it steals your freedom. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus was blunt about this. He told the students, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, growth often looks awkward from the outside, and if you're too busy polishing your image, you'll never step into your true potential. Ask yourself honestly, when you make choices, are you acting to be admired or to be good? That's a hard question, but it's also a liberating one, because the moment you shift from seeking applause to living by your values, your inner life becomes steady no matter what people say. Imagine a simple example. You're invited to a social event you don't want to attend. If your decision depends on will they be upset if I don't go, you've already given away your peace. But if you ask instead, what aligns with the life I want to live? Suddenly the decision is clear. You start acting out of authenticity, not fear. Marcus Aurelius, who lived under the constant eyes of the Roman Empire, wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. If even an emperor struggled with this, it shows how deeply human the need for approval is. But it also proves that we can train ourselves to rise above it. Freedom doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from aligning your daily actions with your deepest values. Every small act of authenticity, saying no when you mean it, speaking truth even if it's unpopular, choosing integrity over applause, loosens a hold of outside judgment and strengthens your character. Now I want to ask you something. What's one choice you'd make differently if you cared less about approval? Share it in the comments. You might be surprised. Your story could be the very thing that inspires someone else watching this video right now. And if this message resonates with you, hit that like button. Not for me, but as a small declaration that you're ready to live with more freedom, courage, and authenticity. 10. Accept change and live by character. Virtue is a lasting asset. If there's one certainty in life, it's this: everything changes. Our bodies age, careers evolve, relationships shift, sometimes in ways we never expected. And yet, most of our suffering comes not from change itself, but from resisting it. We cling to how it used to be or to how we think things should be. And in doing so, we create pain where acceptance could have brought peace. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He wasn't being morbid. He was reminding himself that change is natural and that trying to fight it is like trying to hold back the tide. Acceptance, then, is not weakness. It's clarity. It frees up energy we would waste on denial and redirects it toward meaningful action. But acceptance alone is not enough. The Stoics pair it with something stronger, a commitment to virtue. Epictetus taught that true freedom comes when you live according to principles that no external event can take away. Courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. These four virtues form the backbone of Stoicism. They're timeless because they're the one thing no illness, no misfortune, no betrayal, no shifting circumstance can strip from you. Think of it this way. Fortune can change overnight. You can lose a job, your health, or someone you love. But character, that remains yours. Character is the anchor in the storm. When the waves of change crash against you, it's the steady ground beneath your feet. Take a simple example. Imagine two people facing the same setback. Let's say a business failure. One clings to bitterness, saying, it wasn't supposed to be this way. The other accepts the change and asks, what's the virtuous response here? How can I act with courage, fairness, and wisdom in this situation? That second person transforms misfortune into strength. That's the Stoic advantage. Seneca once wrote, the good man is neither uplifted by prosperity nor cast down by adversity, for he has always endeavored to rely wholly on himself and to derive all joy from himself. That's the essence of Stoicism. If you build your life on fortune, you'll always be shaken. If you build it on character, you'll be unshakable. So let me ask you, when you think about the future, all its uncertainties, all its inevitable changes, what kind of person do you want to be no matter what? Share one word in the comments that defines the character you're building. And if this principle spoke to you, tap the like button right now. It's a small but powerful way to remind yourself that you're not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. Underscore. So here's the challenge. Don't just watch this video, live it. Pick one of these 10 Stoic principles and practice it this week. Even one small step, one moment of presence, one act of courage, one pause before reacting can shift the way you experience life. Which one will you start with? Drop it in the comments. because naming it makes it real, and you might inspire someone else to begin. And if this video gave you value, hit that like button right now. It helps more people discover Stoicism when they need it most. Subscribe to Stoicism Empire so you don't miss the next lesson, and share this with someone who could use a little more calm and strength in their daily routine. Now, before you go, don't stop here. If you're serious about building a calmer mind and a stronger character, the next video on your screen is your next step. In it, I reveal a Stoic habit most people overlook, but it might just be the key to lasting peace and real inner freedom. Trust me, you'll want to see this. And remember, in the description below, I've listed some of the best videos to keep strengthening your mindset so you can become someone more confident, more respected, and truly unshakable. Click the video on your screen right now, and I'll meet you there